Marcus Jordan, aka Swag. Welcome to the fifth episode of the Talk Podcast. The NBA playoffs is heating up. We're about to jump right off into that. All the second round matchups have been announced. Some series has already started. Some is just not starting right now. Some series was longer than other. We're gonna backtrack. We're gonna look at a couple of the first round matchups. Um, so every team I picked pretty much won. Every team I picked, some series went longer than others. Milwaukee, they had a scare game one, dominated Orlando the rest of the series, won every game by like 14 points if I'm not mistaken. Then we got Toronto, they just dominated Brooklyn. Brooklyn played some tough games, but Toronto pretty much dominated them. Then we had the Miami and Indiana series, which I thought the games was very competitive, but it was Miami. Miami was just too much. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Butler and company, they took care of business with Indiana. I think if they would have had Sabonis, it would have been a longer series. They got swept actually, Indiana, but it definitely was some tough games. But Miami ended up sweeping them. Boston, that was a shock. Even though Ben Simmons was out, I didn't see a sweep. But Brett Brown, he's out now. You know what I'm saying? Rightfully so. They need a new coach. Tyrone Lue should be up for the job. Sam Cassell, Mark Jackson, guys like that, they should get some consideration. Even Tisdale from New York, previous coach, I think he should get some consideration. So the East went pretty much as it should have went. Over in the West, the Lakers did what they were supposed to do. I said when they lose a game, everybody's gonna overreact. Dame went crazy game one. They put out a game, but after that, it was pretty much all LA. Dame ended up getting hurt, but series was pretty much over by the time he left the series. Then we got the series that I was shocked about was the Clippers series because during the season they kind of manhandled Dallas, but this playoff, man, Dallas gave them a run. And the crazy thing was, if it wasn't for a bad call game one with the ref ejecting Porzingis, Dallas could have easily been up in that series 3-2 rather than down in that series 3-2 because the series ended up going 6 games. Porzingis didn't play, if I'm not mistaken, he sat out the last 2 games or something like that, but they was playing without their second best player and they went 6 games and he got ejected in another game where they was up 16 in the third quarter and he got ejected. So I was shocked. I was kind of shocked with that series. Kawhi Leonard played great though. Playoff P showed up. Paul George, he was up and down. The Clippers, they still gonna be tough. They find their footing. What else? Utah and Denver. I thought it was gonna be a long series. I edged Denver. Utah was up 3-1. Came back. Donovan Mitchell, I'm a believer. Jamal Murray, I'm a believer. Man, Joker, I'm a believer. Like they showed me a lot that series. They was balling out. You know what I'm saying? Rudy Gobert, he was balling. Man, that was a tough way to go out. That was a tough way to lose that series. Last second shot, Mike Conley for the game, three-pointer desperation three. They was down 2. Utah loses the series 4-3. So Denver advances, and then a 7-game series, OKC and Houston. Like, man, all the pressure was on Russ and James to win that game 7. Chris Paul played bananas. Kudos to OKC. They've been hooping. They overachieved this year. Houston, they won, but they look, that small ball ain't gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? It's really not. So let's just go and get into the second round matchup. Now the series that's already started. Toronto and Boston. So over in the East, we got Toronto and Boston, and then that's the 2-3 seed. And then we got the 1 and 4 seed, which is Milwaukee and Miami. Now, Toronto and Boston, and I'm gonna be real, even though Boston is up 2-0, I had Toronto winning this series in a 7-game series. Only because I saw how Boston struggled to rebound against Philly. So I just figured that Toronto is the bigger team, the more athletic team. So I thought the size would be a problem with it for them. And then Toronto is just like a solid team. Like they don't do nothing great, but they don't do nothing bad at, either. So they just got a nice solid team. And but when I'm watching these, what I'm seeing so far is that Boston talent looks like it's gonna supersede um, Toronto as a collective unit. Because Pascal Siakam, thus far in these first two games, he's showing that he's not that. He might be B. He needs an A. That's what it looks like. Kyle Lowry's doing what he's doing. Van Fleet's doing what he's doing. Everybody doing. Who I'm disappointed in is Marc Gasol. Like, dude, you are trash. Like he's basically getting the JaVale McGee minutes. I'm looking at the box scores. He's playing 17 minutes, 60. So he's starting the game, starting the half, and finding a couple of odd minutes here and there. Like, man, you was like a certified bona fide killer, and now you just out of the lineup. So it looks like Nick Nurse is going with the four perimeter players, one big, and most of the time that one big is Serge Ibaka. So I kind of get that because that's the way the game going. And then Boston is kind of forcing their hand because if you got Tatum and Jaylen Brown at forward with Kemba and Marcus Smart at guard, like if your four-man can't guard the perimeter, like he has to guard Tatum or Brown. But on the other end, they will have to guard him. But the thing is that they can't punish him because Serge Ibaka isn't a post player. So if he was more of a back to the basket player, then maybe. But Marc Gasol is. So that's why I don't understand like why they not playing both of their bigs because that's what Portland tried to do with the Lakers. They tried to go small, but the Lakers stayed big. But Anthony Davis is more elite than Ibaka, so he put more pressure on him. So it forced Portland hand, and he had to start playing Whiteside and I forget the guy, Nursic, I believe. So he started playing his two centers together, and that played right into LA hands. But back to the Toronto series in Boston, it looks like it's just too much talent on Boston end. That's what I'm picking up. Toronto was up 10 points with like maybe 6 minutes, 7 minutes to go, game two, and Boston hit three consecutive threes. Marcus Smart hit two back to back, and somebody else hit a three. But it's like they could close the gap a lot quicker than Toronto. Toronto is more like a efficient team. They get twos, they get threes, but they don't score in bunches. They don't score in flurries. And I'm seeing Boston. Boston just boom, 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 boom. It's like AAU ball with Boston. And as much as Boston misses Gordon Hayward, and he will come back, I think he might come back at the end of this series, or depending on how fast it go, maybe it's going to be the Eastern Conference Finals if they are lucky enough to advance. But Marcus Smart, Gordon Hayward, in my book, like we know what Gordon did in Utah, that's not the same guy. Marcus Smart is balling. Kemba Walker is finding the step. You got to put Kemba Walker in the conversation with one of the best step backs in the league with James Harden. But he be putting people on skates, you know what I'm saying? And Tatum hasn't like went crazy, but he's playing good enough to where like he's taking his shots. He's doing enough to where you have to, pay attention to him. And then Jaylen Brown, I'm disappointed in Siakam. I'm disappointed in Marc Gasol. I believe it was Nolan Powell. I forget. I think his name might be Powell, if I'm not mistaken. I forget what his first name is, but I believe it's Powell. But I'm trying to figure out with him. What I'm trying to figure out with him is he played great against Brooklyn. So you play great against Brooklyn. Where's that energy at against Boston? You know what I'm saying? Like I used to hate that. It's like when I was in school hooping. It's like when we played the top schools in college, junior college, or in high school, the players you need, they'll never show up. But when you playing a mediocre to trash teams, They out there going crazy. You know, they trying to make the paper, they trying to make the article or whatever. So it's like, let me see, yeah, that's buddy name. His name Powell. He played 27 minutes last game, gave him 10 points. Ibaka been balling though. Siakam, he's playing iffy. Gasol, I'm disappointed. Van Fleet and Lowry's doing their thing, and then the young boy, what's his name? Out of what's his name? I can't pronounce his name, man. OG. OG been hooping. OG been hooping. He been playing defense. He been playing hard. But like I said, I had Toronto in a 7-game series. Boston is proving that wrong. I mean, I'm gonna stick with my pick. I think if Boston today they play game 3 today, sometime today. If Boston go up 3-1, 3-0, series over with. You know, just it's over with. If Toronto can win today's game, they got a chance to stretch the series. But because the first game wasn't close. Boston jumped on them, never looked back. Second game was close. Came down to the last 2 minutes of the game. Boston hit Marcus Smart went crazy. He hit like 5 or 60. He went crazy, getting 4-point plays and everything. And Toronto really couldn't score. They couldn't score in the last couple of minutes. They didn't have that go-to player that Kawhi was. That's supposed to be Siakam. That's what I'm saying. This is his chance. I think he's showing us that that might not be him. You know, he might not be that guy. That's what it's looking like right now, because we know Kyle Lowry's not that guy. He always had the roles, and Kyle Lowry is more of a facilitator, defensive. He could score you 15, 20, but that's not really his game. You know, so right now it looks like Boston is in the driver's seat. They up 2-0, so that means Toronto has to beat them 4 out of the next 5 games. I would be shocked if that happens, but you know, it could happen. Without the home court advantage thing, everybody's playing on even playing field, so it looks like Boston has the advantage in that series. Like I said, I took Toronto in the 7-game series. That's still possible. It's unlikely, but right now I would say the best player in this series overall, I would probably edge it to Marcus Smart. I think he's made the most impact. I'll put it like that. He's made the most impact. Jaylen Brown and Tatum has been balling. Shout out to Boston bigs. Like, they not big, but they playing big. They got I believe it's Theus or Dice, whatever his name is. Dice been hooping. He been playing down low, banging. Then they got Ennis Cantor, he plays sometimes. He don't really like. They pick and choose when to play him. But we got I believe Gary Williams from Tennessee. He's like 6'6", 6'7", and they playing him at center. So it's like Toronto, you gotta take advantage of that. Nick Nurse won Coach of the Year, and you out here letting a 6'8" forward guard Marc Gasol. Like, what are you doing, man? But anyway, it looked like that series. Today they play game 3. Boston win today, game series over. If Toronto win, you know, they still got a chance to stretch the series to a long series. Let's jump over to the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat. I told everybody before the playoffs started, Miami was my choice to go to the finals. Right now, I'm looking like a genius. They are just, first of all, let's get this out the way. Milwaukee is a regular season team. They overrated. They don't have a number 2 player. We wanna anoint Chris Middleton as that, but let's just keep it real. He's not that. You know what I'm saying? Chris Middleton is a nice, solid player. You know, regular season, whatever. Giannis is reminding me, like I said, of what LeBron went through the first 7 years of his career in Cleveland. He was phenomenal. Did all the crazy stuff, crazy PR number, crazy stats, crazy highlights. Team always won 50-some plus games, always was a top team. But then when they came to the playoffs, teams made it tougher for him, and nobody else could alleviate the pressure. And that's all I'm saying for nothing. We know Giannis is great. Giannis is dope. We know he has some room for improvement, but he's a dominant force in our league. But Chris Middleton, you, my friend, is overrated. No way I would have paid him that money. We got Eric Bledsoe. We got all these guys that they trying to that's trying to step up. But it's like, bro, y'all losing to Miami that has a bunch of young players and just a bunch of solid players. Other than Jimmy Butler, like name a player on Miami that's gonna get a big contract. Bam might get a big contract when it comes up. Gordon Drowsy, Jake Crowder, like Miami, what they're doing with Giannis is wiry, he's athletic, but he's thin. They're putting a lot of defenders on him that's like, for lack of another word, thicker, stronger defenders. Crowder is smaller in height, but he's strong. So his base, Giannis can't move him around. He's keeping position on Giannis. He's pushing Giannis out. When Giannis get a full head of steam, can't nobody stand in front of him. But you got players like Crowder. You got players like Bam. You have Kelly Olynyk getting minutes. You got Iguodala. You have Jimmy Butler. You have dogs. As Jimmy say, they putting dogs on the court, and that's how they playing. They grimy. They gritty. You know, even the white boys, Duncan Robinson, grimy. Tyler Hero, grimy. You know, Eric Spo is putting it in the pot and making the gumbo. I'm talking about, shout out to him. Milwaukee, man, they overrated. I said it. I've been said. I knew they weren't. I picked them to lose the second round anyway. Even if they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I picked them to lose. And this ain't no knock on Giannis. This is a knock on everybody else. I think the coach is overrated. Budenholzer, he did this in Atlanta. They won 60-something game, number 1 seed, got swept by Cleveland. Even though it was LeBron, but still, like, how you win 60-something games? You got that type of team with Teague, Kyle Korver, Al Horford, Millsap, Joe Johnson, whoever he got. It's like, bro, how you get swept? Like, so I think he's overrated. I think Middleton is overrated. Eric Bledsoe has always been inconsistent. George Hill doing all this talking, but he out there. Let me see what he do. He played solid last game. He played solid. You know what I'm saying? Wesley Matthews, like, come on. Like, Budenholzer, that's what I'm saying. Like, you playing Wesley Matthews. I get it, he played defense, but you need somebody that's going to hit some shots because they collapsing on Giannis. Miami and Milwaukee both defend the paint at a high rate. They give up three-point shots. You need somebody that's going to make some shots. Wesley Matthews not making shots right now. And Marvin Williams, he's not being an impactful player. So I think Milwaukee is built for the regular season. That's my personal opinion. Whereas looking like in a playoff, they're down 0-2 to Miami. As I said, I picked Miami to win this series, but I didn't know it was going to look like this. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was going to be a long series. I have Miami in 7 games. This series might be over with short. And if this series is over with short, Giannis is leaving. That's just what it is. You know, he's going to go to either Miami, he's going to pull a KD move. I got beat bound, let me go join him. He going to go to Toronto, or he going to go to Golden State. Those are the 3 options, unless it's like some crazy blockbuster, something like that. But looking forward, I can see him in Toronto, I can see him in Golden State, and I can see him in Miami. Other than that, I don't really see him like going nowhere else. But it looks like that series, might be over with. But even both games was kind of close, and just because they got Giannis, I don't want to say it's over, but it's both of the series in the East is 2-0. Game 3 is a pivotal game. If they lose, if they go down 3-0, we know the series is over with. 2-1, you can push the series, and now all you want to do is get it even and start the series back over. You know, taking one game at a time. But like I said, I picked Miami in that series, but I picked Toronto in the other series. So right now, I'm looking a little shaky on those picks. In the West, no series has started in the West. Both series went longer, so Lakers been on a little rest, Clippers been on a little rest. But in my opinion, I think both will advance. I think the Clippers have the tougher matchup of the two. Even though James Harden and Russell Westbrook both formed MVPs, I think they're gonna be a handful. But the way the Lakers have been playing defense, I'm gonna keep it real. We don't give the Lakers a lot of credit for their defense because we always talk about LeBron, we talk about AD, but shout out to Caldwell Pope, Danny Green, Caruso, Kuz. Like they playing defense on these guards. They picking them up 94 feet. They making them work. They wearing them out. Vogel is a defensive coach. He's strategized. I like what they doing. And then we know they got Bron and AD. And if PJ Tucker gonna stick, and if PJ Tucker or Covington is gonna stick Anthony Davis, like they got no rim protection. Like, well, who's gonna stop LeBron from the drives? And I know they're gonna play fast. They're gonna shoot the three. They're gonna put the bigs in the pick and roll. And I could see them. They could get hot for a game or two, but a 7-game series, nah, I don't. And then from what I saw, Game 7, when a rubber meets the road, I'm a huge. Anybody that knows me know I rock with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. These dudes in clutch situations, oh my God, like, bro, like, y'all gotta come on, man. Like, I rock with y'all, but y'all gotta play better down the stretch. They just had a 7-game with OKC, and great defensive play with Harden, but come on, man. Like, offensively, what are y'all doing out there? Harden, you shrunk again. Russ, you shrunk again. Like, I don't see the Lakers having no problems with them. I got the Lakers in 3 in that series. That shouldn't even, Houston might get a game and you might hear everybody again overhyping like they did the Portland series, but for the most part, that I don't see that even being a contest, to be honest. Then we got the Denver, and then we got Denver and the Clippers. The Joker is the X factor of this series. They have nobody that could guard the Joker. With Rudy Gobert couldn't guard the Joker. And he's a 2-time defensive player of the year. He is fit to kill Zubac and Harrell. He's going to dominate them. I'm not trying to. The Joker is fit to kill them. Plumlee should be able to get his way on the offensive glass because he's a super athletic big. The key to them is going to be Joker, and I saw Gary Harris come back Game 7. If Gary Harris can get up, get his win up, and find his flow, because he was 1 for 9, so offensively he wasn't there yet, but defensively, because he's always been a solid defensive player coming from Michigan State, he's always had defense. Defensively, if he's gonna play at that high level, like how he has been, how he did Game 7, they could push, because what I saw the Clippers do against Denver, they can't guard drives. So Jamal Murray, I know we be hyping up Kawhi Leonard and Paul George defensively, Patrick Beverley, all them. But from what I saw the first series, man, I ain't going off reputation. I'm going off what my eyes saw. They can't guard. They are overrated defensive team. I understand Patrick Beverley was out some of them games, and maybe it changed with him in the lineup. But I don't know how much you could play him because he's a offensive liability. But Denver is 8-9 deep, strong. You know what I'm saying? And this kid, what's this kid's name? Morris. If Morris can give them the energy to guard the point guard, if he can get them something coming off the bench, because I'm thinking Gary Harris might slide his way into the starting lineup. I'm not sure. But this kid, Monte Morris, he be balling. And then Michael Porter found his stroke last game. They got, who else they got? We got the Joker. Hey, Grant. They deep just like the Clippers. But we know the Clippers got the better players. And to be honest, Kawhi's the best player in this series. After that, it's the Joker and Murray. Then it's Paul George. And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, you can feel that then probably it's going to be Lou Williams or whatever. But I'm kind of shocked that Millsap hasn't been an impactful player in the playoffs yet. It looks like, to be honest, he getting the JaVale McGee minutes. He started first both of the halves, and then he off the court. But against the Clippers, they might be able to use him. You know what I'm saying? But if Paul George go back into playoff P form, that they gonna be playing a longer series. I've got the series probably going 6 games. I'll take the Clippers though, maybe a 6 or 7 game series. I think the Lakers in maybe 2.5, 3 games in that series. Then we already talked about the East. I had Toronto in 7. I had Miami in 7. Both of them can be over with quick. You know what I'm saying? But that's just a quick view of the second round of the playoffs. With that being said, if you're not following us in the Facebook group yet, send us an invite, Talking Podcast. Also, you can find us on YouTube on the Talking Podcast. Till next time.